Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman. Now I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. I apologize, I am still fighting through this cold, but I saw a movie over the weekend in one of my early release screenings that I am super psyched to talk about. So push through! The Seaman does. And I saw two previous screenings this weekend. First, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. If you have not watched it, check it out. My review, that is. Also, check out the movie, because the movie is absolutely amazing. But the second movie that I saw over the weekend, that was an early access screening, was one I wanted to be psyched about, but I was also super cautious about going into. But I'm really, really happy to say that when I walked out the theater, I had a big ass smile on my face because I thought this movie really worked, and I think it's the best version of any of these movies. So pull up a chair, man. Take a seat. We are diving in spoiler free on Bumblebee. Yeah, that's right. I said Bumblebee was fantastic. I said Bumblebee was the best Transformers movie to date. Come at me, bro. You want to come at me? Come on at me. But if you haven't seen the movie, maybe you should go see it first. Look, I know that these movies have duped us with really good trailers plenty of times. I mean, when I tell you that I was super psyched for Age of Extinction, that should say something about how good those trailers were cut versus how overbloated, overcomplicated, just too much going on in all of those old Transformer movies. But I will say that there are elements in every single one of those movies that I like. There are things that happen in every single one of those movies that I'm like, God, if we could have gotten there faster or just focused on this more, or eliminated some of these people, these movies could have been really, really good. And all the notes that I've ever given myself to one day give to Michael Bay if I ever saw him, I think Travis Knight got that memo and added it to this movie. First off, going back to the Gen 1 bots, brilliant. These are the versions of the Transformers that we grew up with, man, watching them in the cartoons, playing with them in toys. And the other thing that's really important here, Travis Knight is one of those people. He's a guy who played with the toys, who watched the cartoon and grew up with the Gen 1s. And having the Gen 1 Transformers just looks so much better. It's one of these, like, by the end of the first run of this franchise, because they're clearly setting up sequels and trying to soft reboot this baby. And I hope it works. But so many of the transformations were so complicated. You're seeing like a bajillion gears and things moving, and you're like, where does all of this exist in a car or a robot? Like, there are times I was like, I think there are more things that are actually in the robot when it transforms than it is when it's standing upright. And Travis Knight simplifies those transformations, right? So many of the transforms take like the massive panels of the car and make that part of the armor and the suit of the robot, so that the movements are simpler, they're easy to follow, and they feel a lot like the toys. Watching the Decepticons and the Autobots transform, move around, do things, I was like, this is what this is all supposed to look like. And I think one of the biggest reasons this movie works is because Travis Knight's behind the camera. Look, we're familiar with him from his animated stuff, right? Kubo, Paranorman, Box Trolls, Coraline, all movies I really, really dig. And I was interested to see what Travis Knight was going to do with a blockbuster. And what's nice is he, like I said, he focuses on the Transformers. Bumblebee is actually our lead character. His story is the lead of the movie, which is so important and something I think every Transformers fan has been screaming from the rooftops at Michael Bay for anything that Michael Bay has done, is put our childhood characters front and center, and it was so nice to see that. The other thing that really works in this movie is Haley Steinfeld's character. And one of the big things I've always had a problem with in the Transformers movies is the human element. It's like, why is it here? We should just be watching our Transformers. But Haley Steinfeld's character, Charlie Watson, her appearance in the movie, her being in the movie, all makes sense within the context of Bumblebee's story and not vice versa. It's not Charlie's story and Bumblebee fits within the context of that. It is Bumblebee's story. We get to watch a Bumblebee origin. And it's wonderful. And one of the other nice things that Travis Knight does with the Bumblebee character is Bumblebee transforms more than any of the other Transformers in this movie. And his transforms never get old because Travis Knight constantly is putting the camera in like a different location so that you're always seeing a different piece of Bumblebee transformed than the last time you saw him transform. And I just absolutely loved that stuff. And there is one transformation in this movie. I sat back and I was like, wow, did we really just make Bumblebee that? And it's so cool. And like I said, Haley Steinfeld does a really, really nice job as Charlie Watson, and Charlie's story does a really good job of complementing Bumblebee's. And together, that story elevates this movie. It gives this movie a ton of charm. It gives this movie a ton of heart. There are some really, really sweet moments between Bumblebee and Haley Steinfeld. And I loved watching every second of that, man. Their relationship is so good, and it works so well within the context of the story that it kind of gets you to understand how Bumblebee ends up being the Bumblebee that we've seen in the movies in the past. And I love the way all of that worked. Like I said, I thought Haley Steinfeld did a really nice job. She was 2 for 2 for me over the weekend, man. She was also great in Into the Spider-Verse. But she holds her own and does a good job in supporting and elevating Bumblebee. And like I said, their story is awesome. Dylan O'Brien, who voices Bumblebee, that's right, someone voiced Bumblebee. He does a really nice job for the brief amount of time that we have him in the movie. Like I said, we get to kind of see the origin. So we see B pre no voice box, and we kind of get to see how he becomes silent, and we get to see how he learns to use the radio. And again, that's tied into the Charlie part of the story, and that story ties in perfectly into elevating and pushing the Bumblebee story. So I loved all that, and I gotta give major shout-outs to Christina Hodson, because she knew the focus should have been Bumblebee, and making Bumblebee's co-lead a female and giving that female perspective to the movie really elevated all of the heart stuff in the movie. And Bumblebee has always been the heart and soul of the Transformers, so that was so massively important. And like I said, I think having the female co-lead be there just made all that stuff pop and work better, and their relationship is absolutely wonderful. However, by the time we get to the end of the movie, we're kind of set up in a way where we could kind of leave Charlie and that story and kind of keep it self-contained to where it is, and we could move forward into a Transformer-centric movie. I keep daring the studio to do it. Travis Knight, I hope you can make it happen. But of course, I won't be surprised if Charlie is pulled back into the movie. Now, look, after Charlie and Bumblebee, the things that work the best in this movie are the other Transformers. You have Dropkick and Shatter, who are voiced by Angela Bassett and Justin Theroux. They're the 2 Decepticons that are chasing Bumblebee. And again, simple story. Bumblebee escapes to Earth. Optimus gives Bumblebee a message that he eventually will see later in the movie gets damaged. And as he's fleeing from the war at Cybertron, these 2 Decepticons are following him, and ultimately they're trying to get Bumblebee, and Bumblebee has to make sure that they don't get back up to Cybertron. Very, very simple. And that's the focus of the movie. And I loved watching Shatter and Dropkick transform. I loved that they were the triple transform type of Transformers. Every once in a while, we get a Transformer that could transform into a car and then also transform into a plane or something else. And these 2 Decepticons can do that. And again, another added element that makes you kind of go back to your childhood and go, dude, like, yes. And there are sequences where you get to see all 3 transformations happen back to back to back. And you're just like, yay, good job. Travis Knight, you nailed it. And they looked really, really great. And I love the action sequences between the 2 of them and Bumblebee. They're all really solid early in the movie and down the stretch towards the finale. So I really dug those. And then, of course, we see a couple other a couple other Transformers when we kind of jump up to Cybertron for a little bit. And all of those Transformers are wonderful to look at. They should be things that you're familiar with. And those transformations, again, stay simple, feel more like the toys. But the big one, Optimus Prime, when he shows up, that was one of the most glorious things that I have seen in any Transformer movie. Gen 1, Optimus is amazing. And they give Optimus one nice sequence that you just sit there and you go, there it is! That's all I want, man. All I want. And it's cool. And like I said, I think what they set up in general with this Transformers universe really could be awesome if we have a Transformers-centric movie where Optimus is our lead character. Now, when you move away from the Transformers and from Charlie, the other humans in this movie, I still feel like, fortunately, there's a lot less of them, so that really helps. And it's sad to say, right? Because I love me some John Cena. And he has 2 moments in this movie where he delivers 2 lines in a boardroom during a conversation that are just laugh out loud funny. And I went, there's the charm and charisma that I love from John Cena. He's a little bit more animated in those moments, and those moments work really well. Other than that, I did not like the John Cena military character, Agent Burns, because I just don't like seeing Cena in that role. I think... yes, he's a wrestler. He came from, the WWE like The Rock did, and I think The Rock works better in action movies, whereas I think John Cena is born for comedy, man. His charisma and his charm is so good, and when that shows up in the movie, I like it. When he's being hard-assed military guy, take it or leave it. Same thing with, Haley Steinfeld's kind of romantic co-lead, Jorge Ledenborg Jr., who plays Memo. Again, I could take or leave it. He pops up a couple times early and kind of makes you laugh. You're like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then he does end up kind of playing a role toward the end, and he's fine. I thought he did an okay job. It was a nice little extra element, I guess, for Haley Steinfeld to play off of. But I didn't think it needed to be there. I think if you trim out that stuff and you would have just focused on the Transformers and Charlie. Now, granted, if alien robots come to Earth, the military is going to be involved. But if this gets greenlit, and seeing, what people are starting to talk about with this movie from other critics, it has really nice, really nice scores. It's getting positive buzz. I hope that we get to move forward, trim out some of that human fat, and let's keep focusing on our Transformers, because that stuff in the movie works wonderfully. And I think it's the reason this will be a movie that Transformer fans should be really psyched about. And there's a really lovely moment at the end of the movie where we see Bumblebee driving, and there's something near him that kind of foreshadows something I think that we might see in the future. It was a nice little nod. I was like, oh, it's not that, but it looks like that. So there you go, man. I really dug this Bumblebee movie. I think this is the perfect soft reboot movie for this franchise, and I think it has a future again. I think it's gonna get fans re-excited and go, yes, give me more Travis Knight Transformer movies. So there you go. I really dug Bumblebee, but now I want to know what you think, man. Are you excited about this movie? I know it had limited screenings, so maybe some of you saw it, but probably most of you haven't. So if you haven't seen it, what are you looking forward to? Are you excited about the Gen 1 stuff? What from the trailers kind of had you psyched on the things that you're looking forward to? If you have seen the movie, what'd you like, man? What'd you like? What'd you dislike? Does it land above all the other Transformers? Did it get you excited again? Leave all that down below in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe and little bell so you can get alerts every time I make a new video. And come join the Seaman's Sit-Down Squad, bro. That's it. I'm the Seaman. That's all I gotta say about Bumblebee, and I'm signing off. Peace! Hey, what's up, guys? Seaman here, letting you know that the fun doesn't have to stop. You can keep it going by clicking on this video or this video. And if you want other options, you could hit that guy and subscribe and check out all the videos. I'm just saying.